What's up, people? Today I want to be discussing, the, it's a very, very, useful habit now because of these mass shootings. And all of it is supposed to be used to blame Fortnite. Fortnite. We have the shooting in El Paso, Texas, Dayton, Ohio, and now the highway between Midtown and Odessa, Texas. Now, Fortnite is used to blame for all of this once again. I mean, politicians like to say what, like, try to define what Fortnite is, what it does, and what it teaches younger people to actually do. So, what is the really big problem here? Oh, the really big problem is that Fortnite's not necessarily a problem. Okay, politicians like to actually make Fortnite a big issue here, but it's really not. Okay, video games, first off, they don't teach people to kill, to rob. But if I had to say one video game, excuse me, out of the rest, I say I would blame my most personal thoughts on, do video games make you violent? I would blame it on Grand Theft Auto, okay? That's the video game right there that teaches young people to kill, to steal, to persecute and prosecute women, and become the most terrible loser that you could possibly be on this planet. Alright, I would shift the blame over to Grand Theft Auto, because Grand Theft Auto teaches, it teaches you multiple crimes and the most horrible, tragic things that you could do. So, Fortnite is just a game where you shoot fictional characters, and that's about it. You get weapons, you search for weapons, you go out, you hunt throughout the island, and you try to take down fictional characters. That's what Fortnite. And that's what it's defined as. Not as a game that teaches young people to kill and commit these mass shootings. So, what's the big problem here? I would appreciate that people stop blaming all of this on Fortnite, because it's really, really, it's not really, I just find it really offensive. Yes, it's a fun game to play, but yet you have to not, you shouldn't be using Fortnite as something that you can, just blame because everybody commits these mass shootings. And the real big issue in the world today already is President Trump. The El Paso shooting was supposed to target Hispanics. And yes, this mass shooting had to... It just... It literally just... It wasn't... The mass shooting, it wasn't supposed to be very... I'm gonna say... The mass shooting was totally tragic. Many people lost their lives because some moron just decided to go shoot up people, and now this is what has happened. And we look at the bigger thing to blame here, and that's Fortnite. Like, you seriously have nothing better to do with your life than you just, sit back and say that, oh, it's all Fortnite's fault. It's all Fortnite's fault because of all these mass shootings, right? Like, that's the real good thing about this, right? You just blame it all on Fortnite. And you say, it's not the people's fault, it's Fortnite's fault. It's Fortnite's fault because Fortnite just teaches young people about shooting and killing, right? There's nothing good about Fortnite. You could spend hours of playing Fortnite and suddenly get the urge to say, this game's actually pretty fun. I'm gonna go out and do this in reality. Well, in the end, really, it gets you arrested. Okay? You can sit there and enjoy Fortnite and not get the urge to actually want to do this in reality because you already know that you're gonna A, either get the death sentence, or B, you get sent to jail. So I would not even risk it if I were you. I appreciate playing Squad Assault or Team Rumble, what they call it. Now I enjoy shooting up and blowing up fictional characters in the game. I love doing that stuff. But am I going to go out and do it in reality? Absolutely not. If there's only one thing that's okay when you have like a gun or a rifle, there's only one thing that it's actually good for. Hunting. If you're like hunting for animals, like for meat out of elk, stuff like that, then that's a totally different story. But you have to make sure you have a hunting license before you do that. Why am I gonna... I'm just gonna say, whatever you play, whatever video game that uses guns in it, that stuff, it does not actually have a connection in the real world. It never does, it never had, and it never will. So before you go and you commit these mass shootings, ask yourself this question. I've said this many of times. Make sure that you already know what is going to happen after you commit these kind of crimes with these mass shootings. Make sure you understand what you're going to go through when you commit these mass shootings. It has to be, you have to realize what is going on. So, that was what I wanted to get at today. I mean, it really is obnoxious. These politicians love to try to shift or put the blame on Fortnite for all these mass shootings and all that stuff. It's really stupid. I mean, if I want to go and, shoot up a lot of people because I've been playing way too much Fortnite and that stuff, and I just wanted to go out and just do it anyway and that stuff. And all of a sudden, I get caught for, let's say I have a rampage of killing about 50 innocent people, and I leave 50 injured. So I have a streak of 50-50. Now, the police come to either arrest me or give me the death sentence. That's what that is. B, I know I said A, death sentence, and B, you get arrested and taken to jail or prison, but bear with me on that. I just twisted it around. But yeah, you can either get the death sentence or go to prison for that. Now, you think if I were to tell the policeman, I said, the reason why I shot up all these people was because of Fortnite. Don't arrest me, blame Fortnite. Fortnite is the one at fault here, not me. I mean, it's always the video game's fault, right? Yeah, it's always got to be the video game's fault. Well, it's not my fault. It's not my fault that I shot everybody and that stuff. It's all Fortnite's fault, right? But no. Fortnite has nothing to do with mass shootings. And what these politicians are saying is absolutely false. It's absolutely false. I mean, I'm not even going to lie to you. Video games have nothing to do with what you do in reality. You could sit there and you could play Grand Theft Auto and that stuff, and if you're very mature enough, you would play the game, do what you always enjoy in Grand Theft Auto, and not do it in reality. Because let me talk about Grand Theft Auto for a second. If you persecute and prosecute women and that stuff, and you enjoy doing that in a video game, you're not going to go and do it in reality. Because first off, that too is a crime, and it's not something that you should be doing in the actual world. That whatever you can do in a video game, whether it's shooting, killing, or being mean to women, or robbing, that stuff, they're all crimes. They're all crimes. And people just can't even get it in their noggins because Well, society is messed up. Society is messed up. That's how I describe society. And forgive me for saying about all this stuff. About, like what you do to women in Grand Theft Auto, you should not do in reality. I mean, I did not, even though it hurt some people, I said what needed to be said because obviously whatever you do to women in Grand Theft Auto is not okay to do in reality. Whatever is in the video game, whatever violent, most cruel actions that happen in a video game are not okay in reality. I could go on talking about this because this issue has actually been like a problem for many years. Many years has this, really, well, it's happened a lot. It's, I just gotta say, I'm really not liking how Fortnite still gets put on blame here for all these mass shootings that happen every day. I've recently heard a story, and it was a true story, and it was another person who went to go shoot off other people. I can't remember what the city was and that stuff. But he was caught red-handed by police. And he also, too, was almost the same as Shooter Betts in Dayton, Ohio. See, the guy wanted to go shoot up people and that stuff. And then he wanted to go rape girls after that. Yeah, it didn't happen the same way Betts did. After Betts went on with his rampage, he wrote down a list of girls that he was going to rape and sexually harass. And yeah, this kid also kind of did the same thing, but he didn't write down a list of girls that he wanted to sexually harass. He just sexually harassed whatever girl he wanted to sexually harass. But yeah, they were all crimes. And if you think you can get away with using video games as an excuse, the police are not going to buy that. The police didn't even buy when this law-breaking Mexican broke into the bank in Mexico and stole a bunch of money, and he had a taped up NES zapper from Duck Hunt. And the taped NES zapper did not fool police. The kid was arrested anyway. He broke into banks in Mexico multiple times. And oh, I got it. Why don't we use Grand Theft Auto? It's Grand Theft Auto's fault that the kid broke into the bank. Let's use Grand Theft Auto for that, okay? Yeah. It's Grand Theft Auto's kid. It's not this young moron's fault. It's not the Mexican loser's fault. Let's just put it on Grand Theft Auto. Because Grand Theft Auto teaches you all these crimes. Teaches you to rob, hijack things and that stuff. I mean, come on, it's got to be okay in the real world. If you can do it in a video game, it's got to be okay in the real world, right? But no. Anything that happens in a video game, whether it's violence and stuff that happens like that in a video game, is not okay to do in reality. In fact, Rich, actually, he said this too. He said video games have no connection to reality. I mean, they don't, after you spend a couple hours playing a video game that's, let's say, so violent and so, like, bloody, and has so much gore in it, so much blood gore, that you're like, hey, this game isn't pretty bad. I sure like to do it in reality here sometimes. What the heck are you saying? Anything you do in the video game that's violent and, cause, like, a bunch of destruction to structures, that stuff in a video game, it's all not okay to do in reality. All of it is not supposed to be okay. Anyway, maybe you all are watching this and are probably trying to figure out that whether if I'm talking about video games being the problem, which, well, I made the video because every time there's a mass shooting that gets out, all of the blame just goes to Fortnite, and they're just constantly, well, it's annoying. First off, I most certainly do not I'm making the video because this, well, it's annoying, man. It's like very, very annoying. And maybe you all think it's just me about ranting about these two video games, Fortnite and Grand Theft Auto, and that these games should, like, never exist because it teaches young kids, young adults, that these two video games teach you to be an actual mass shooter, a real sexual assault, male to women, or about robbing banks and that stuff, or hijacking vehicles and that stuff. Maybe you're all watching this and thinking I'm just ranting about Grand Theft Auto and how horrible the game it is, because actually Grand Theft Auto is a horrible game if you ever play it. And my parents never, ever want me playing Grand Theft Auto. Ever. And you gotta look at Grand Theft Auto here because it teaches a lot of bad habits. And this one girl, or this one mom on Dr. Phil, specifically described Grand Theft Auto, that it teaches you to kill, to be mean to women, and this mother was also worried that her son was so addicted to video games that he was going to go out and be a school shooter. And the child, he was so addicted to these video games and that stuff, he even took advantage of his mother. He ordered his mother to bring him food, bring him Starbucks, and he even, like, put holes in the walls and that stuff. He even tried to invade his mother's personal space. And that was, like, seriously wrong. The real reason why I've made the video was because it's because I hate seeing Fortnite and video games being used to be put to blame here for everything that happens here in the US. I'm, like, sick of it. I mean, do you know how many times that people use video games for, to put the blame on for, like, school shootings and everything that happens here in America? There are actually a couple that actually said they blame Fortnite for their divorce. To me, that's kind of stupid. I don't really know why you actually want to do this. Oh, well, the perfect answer that I've got to that question is I think people are, well, I'm just going to say morons. Because if they love putting the blame on video games, that stuff, it normally means they have nothing better to do with their lives. Alright, they don't want to take accountability for their actions. So, they got nothing better to do, so they'll just put the blame on Fortnite. That's the easiest thing to do. I don't want to take accountability for my actions, so I'll just go ahead and blame Fortnite for everything wrong that I do. Every crime that I commit, which I haven't even done any crimes at all. I mean, I've been given warnings about committing some of these crimes. Like, I never went to go and shoot somebody up and that stuff, but I've actually had the risks of committing other crimes, which I'm not even going to discuss because it's not appropriate. But, yeah. Anyway, people, that's the video for today. I hope you all enjoyed watching this. And I hope you enjoy watching my gameplays of Star Wars Commander. I will see you all later in the next video. And my next video will follow up on the shooting that happened on the highway between Odessa and Midtown, Texas. This is Charles Morris. Have a good day. I'll see you all later.